Welcome to Why Should I Invest? Developed by the International Collegiate Angels Network, or ICAN. At ICAN, we believe that campus-born ventures are today's most underappreciated asset class. Each podcast will spotlight a campus-born founder and the venture they're building. I'm going to ask the tough questions that investors would want to ask. So welcome to another episode of Why Should I Invest? Today I have a really interesting company that we're talking to called SyncNet. SyncNet, the Chief Technology Officer, is with us today, Mr. Raymon Cesar, and Jeremy Borman, who is an advisor to the company, is with us as well. Raymon, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came up with the idea for SyncNet.
Yes, so I'll start. My name is Raymon Cesar. I am based in Germany. So I was born originally in Congo. So I moved to Germany and I went to school here in Germany, learned the language, and I started very pretty early with an interest in technology and software development. So I was working in a company that was building app and VR software for different companies and clients. So, and as I was working on that company, I had a chance to have a very good connection with the CEO of the company, who was also the founder and also a CTO of the company. And he told me a couple stuff about, I'll say it, entrepreneurship. And slowly I started to develop the idea of my own, which is today called SyncNet. So basically, just in short, SyncNet is a collaboration tool that allows user to collaborate faster in any platform. So think of it as it was some sort of an analytic tool, but instead of be analytic, it allows you to collaborate. So think of it as you integrating a Zoom into existing platform. So it's very confusing with other technology out there like Google Meet and Zoom and TeamViewer, but it's kind of a combination of all those tools, but that can be integrated inside of any platform and turn that platform into a collaborative platform, basically.
Right. And
if I explain it very well.
No, that's a good explanation. And Jeremy, do you want to give a little background on yourself as well?
Yeah, my name is Jeremy Borman. I'm half German, half American. I have a background in law. So I studied law in Germany and also in the United Kingdom, in Glasgow. I have an LLM in corporate and financial law. And I founded a company before in the AI space. Raymond and I met in Berlin, where we were part of the same startup program. And ever since, we've been good friends. And Raymond asked me, based on my experience as a startup founder, bootstrapping a business successfully, to help him with SyncNet. And seeing SyncNet, I thought it was one of the best ideas I ever seen in my life, even greater than what I've come up with. And I was on board the minute he asked me. And ever since then, I've been an advisor in the legal space for SyncNet, but also when it comes to finding customers, business partnerships, and also business development. Yeah, and that's a little bit about me.
Great, thank you. Wow, what a great partner to have, Raymond. You're fortunate to have him on your team. I did look at your website and I've looked at the video. It's very compelling, and it really you kind of are in kind of a customer service space. You're in terms of customer support. So why don't you give us kind of a maybe a classic use case of SyncNet?
Yes. So basically, let's. I don't know how if it's different in US, but for example, here in Europe, basically, let's say you want to open a bank account. So, and most of the time, it's for someone that is new and trying to open a bank account in a new bank is not always easy. Or let's say maybe you want to apply for a loan, for example. So it's a very complex process to go through. And most of the time, you always gonna need, for example, some assistant for maybe consultant or maybe from an agent of the bank itself. So in those parts, it make, for example, a tool like Zoom very difficult to collaborate with an agent directly into a platform to guide them, like how can they fill up a form, how can they, for example, apply for a loan, or how can they, for example, open their bank account. So online. So most of the bank here, what they done, they have, for example, a shop or a place where is either you have two options. Either you can pick up a phone and tap the phone number, which is already displayed on the website. You tap the phone and you call the customer support. You have to go to a very long line and into an agent who will get to you, and then you're gonna explain your problem, which in those scenarios is always a problem that cannot be solved directly, yeah, like in a single call. So then they cannot give you a ticket. Then you have to wait until the time comes, and then they're gonna use tools like TeamView or other tools out there to help you to solve the issue. Or you can just find a time and go to the office and try to get it done there. So as an immigrant myself, so that's always been challenging since I am not originally from Germany. So it was always challenging to try to get bank system, how it work, insurance and all that. So the tool is the reason why we are trying to focus on customer support. It's allowed on one click, the agent can receive the call from you and can directly jump in that call and can see exactly where you are facing the issue on the platform and guide you step by step how you solve that issue in 5 minutes. So an issue can take, for example, a week to solve, we can solve it in 5 minutes of a call. Directly.
Yeah. And I did watch the video, and it's an extremely elegant tool that you have developed. If it works in the way that the video was displaying. So I'm going to try to articulate a little bit, and you can certainly correct me, but it seems to me that your tool will kind of layer on top of whatever forms let's say the bank is using for a loan application, and then in a live interactive way will enable the agent to show the customer, point them to different areas that they need to fill in some information or things like in a real-time fashion.
Yes, exactly.
And tell me if this is such an elegant solution that you've developed, why hasn't it been done before?
Well, it has been done before because there is, for example, a company called TeamView. It's German company. They have done something similar, but the problem on doing such a tool is that there is a lot of technical limitations, technical issues that you have to very first face. Of course, for a user perspective, if you're gonna use it, this is a very simple tool. But for our developers, and when you're working behind it, trying to put everything in place, trying to make sure that the data are secure, that everything is working fine, is very difficult to achieve. So, of course, it have been in development for 3 years by myself to try to get it to a point that I would say that I'm kind of satisfied if the results goes that way. And that is why it makes such a tool very difficult for other company to mimic it or try to do it.
Right.
So far,
please.
As I mentioned, there's one company that kind of managed to get it done, but still it's very different than what we are doing because instead of installing it in the platform, you have to install it on your device.
Right. So I see you have several different competitors: Surfly, TeamViewer, and Glia.
Yes.
And your primary differentiation from those competitors is your technology.
Yes, so the technical approach is very different from them. So, and also we are much more focused on the platform when they are, for example, in the case of a team view, it's the tech is you have to install it on your device. When my tech, you don't need to install anything. You don't need any
That's an
logins. You don't
important
need,
distinction.
yes, so you don't need any logins. You don't need downloads. You don't need none of that. But for example, in the case of TeamView, you need to do all those steps
Right.
that the tech
And your
can do.
customer doesn't need to register either, right? So if I'm a customer, I
Exactly.
don't need to register to be able to
Exactly.
interact with your software.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
it's very simple to integrate. It's the same integration that it's done for, as I was mentioning, for example, with analytic. When with the competitors, it's very different. For example, if you have to install it on your device, so you have to every each user have to keep installing it each time they are
Yes.
visiting the platform.
Right.
When
Wow.
my scenario is only installed one and it's ready for use for as long as
Right. And this
everybody.
works on all the different browsers?
Yes, I made sure of that.
I'm sure you have. What's interesting as well in terms of your product roadmap, it seems like you've already had some pilot testing with this with some clients. Is that correct?
Yes, we had a couple client testing, which was mostly in the area of NGOs and also I would say it just software development. So in case of team, they want to collaborate in developing. Let's say I'm developing a software and I need, for example, feedback for five other team members.
Right.
We can, for example, jump in the call and work together on the same project real time. And we also had, for example, the interest of a bank here, which is one of the biggest bank here in Germany, Sparkasse. So they are also interested in tech because in that specific tech, because it just make the entire inquiry process that they have much more easy to handle. But of course, there's banks, they want some insurance and they need some stuff and, it's not very easy to deal with them, but we managed to get a POC going with them and we got a positive feedback. We just need to keep developing our tech further so that can be used in a large scale.
Well, congratulations on getting through and getting a POC with the bank. That's pretty amazing. And you did generate some revenue.
Yes, those were POC revenue.
Yeah, wonderful. And your go-to-market strategy. Well, before we get to that, where are you in the product development? Are you ready to take this thing commercial?
We still have to do some stuff to, I'll say it. We still have to do some development so that it can support large scale of users. So, of course, it can be take public, but I want to make sure that this is where, for example, Jeremy would say I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I want to make sure that when it's launched, that is launched with very less bugs than
Yes.
than what currently is. But it
Okay.
can be used for a very small scale, but for a large scale, we still have to do some improvement.
Okay. So you've mentioned many different types of applications for this, customer service being the primary one in fintech, and you also mentioned educational applications, perhaps for teachers and students to collaborate and things like that.
Yes, I also forgot to mention, we also had a chance to get an interest of a university here in Potsdam University. One of the teacher was also the owner of a startup, and he found their tech very interesting because they have, for example, in university, they have their own personal platform where, for example, students can, go see some exercise and stuff like that.
Right.
Using tool like, for example, another limitation, for example, like Zoom have is that if I'm sharing my screen, you can see my screen, but you're not going to be able to interact with me at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
So, and since my tool allows that, that I can share my screen and the same time you're interacting with me as you are seeing my screen. And my screen is not really like video recording screen. It's basically just the same platform be
Yeah.
synced for
Right.
multiple
In real
users at
time.
the same time.
Real time interaction.
It
We
makes
only have a
it
few more
more-
minutes.
Yes.
It sounds like you have some work left to do. You're raising $275,000. Is that correct?
I think there was 250K, which is euro,
250?
but I think maybe US would be that amount.
Okay. And who else is on your team? I know Jeremy is an advisor. You're the technical developer. And so do you have any other team members?
Yes,
helping
I
you.
have Javier Pascal. He is the CEO and he has experience in sales and marketing and business development management. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it to this specific call. But yes, I have a co-founder who has basically experience in business.
Okay, great. And yeah, like I said, the website is very, very clean, very compelling. I love the little video. So why don't you give people how they can connect with you and see your company? Give the website and how they can connect with you.
Basically, they can, for example, reach out to the website and send a message, which
is
directly.
The website is syncnetgroup.com.
Yes.
SYNC netgroup.com. Syncnetgroup.com. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
So they can just reach out me there, or maybe if they have my pitch deck, then there's an email also there where they can reach to me directly.
Right.
And also in the website, there's an email for my co-founder, which he's an expert in finances.
Okay, great. So I conclude every one of these podcasts with the fundamental question: why should I invest in SyncNet?
I think I'll leave this question to Jeremy.
I think SyncNet has the potential to change the world, making customer and support relationships better than they were ever before. And we do think that we need backing to make that happen, especially financial backing to refine the product, to chase our vision, to become the best web browsing tool in the world. And we do have the best team available for that. And yeah, that's why we should get investment.
Well said, Jeremy. Thank you. And thank you, Raymon, for being with us today. We're talking today to SyncNet. They're available. You can see them at syncnetgroup.com. And thank you very much for being a part of our show today.
Thank you for your time.
For more information about how you can get involved in the ICAN mission, please contact me directly via email at tomdenning@icanhub.net.